YouTube, this is a very sick Total War Seraphim bringing you the 10th game in the FIB, the Faction Inheritance Battle. I'm proud to present tonight two great players playing for the Agony clan Achilles, AggonyAchilles playing as Athens, and TWR Bobi playing as the Massalians. So let's jump right into that game, huh? All right. Well, this was submitted by Bobi, so we're gonna take a look at his build playing as Massalia first. We got a Levy Freeman on the right flank. We got a left one, Levy Freeman, two Axe Warriors on the right flank, and two Celtic Warriors on the left flank. We have two Massalian Hoplites on the left flank, and two Axe Warriors making up the left flank, as well as two Massalian Hoplites as well. Massalians. And now we have a Hippeus Lancer and a Massalian Cavalry for the cavalry contingent on the right flank, and we've got a Massalian Cavalry and a Hippeus Lancer on the left flank, and two Tarentine Cavalry making up the center. We're going to take a look at AggonyAchilles playing as Athens here. We can't see everything completely though. We have a light hoplite up front, I assume another one, a hoplite, 2, 3, 4 hoplites, a thorax hoplite, a second, a third, and a fourth thorax hoplite, a Hippeus Lancer, Citizen Cav, 2 Citizen Cav, and 1 Hippeus Lancer. Just as these armies come together, I talked to AggonyAchilles concerning these builds. I was lucky enough to spectate this game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I want to thank both players for allowing me to spectate it live. That really is a treat, especially for me. But you know, his start in the FIB, he started off with Athens. AggonyAchilles did, and he's right. I've watched all the replays, and man, it is unbelievably hard to make anything out of them, especially when he was lined up against, in my mind, which were superior factions in that they all brought hoplites like Sparta, Massalia, Tillis, myself. And as such, he was very limited in the units he could bring. These Hippeus Lancers, I think, are intended to be the workhorse of the Athens build here. And as such, if he can use them effectively, he can definitely win this game. If TWR Bobi stops him from using those Hippeus Lancers, then it probably won't go over too well. His contingent of citizen cavalry isn't going to stand up to the Massalians, and the Tarentines of Bobi are also going to be potentially very effective. So I find this interesting. Bobi has split his forces up into two main groups, a left and a right flank with just the Tarentine center, and you can see that he's already attempting to envelop Achilles' formation. So out on the right flank here for Achilles, we see these Citizen Cav and the Hippeus Lancers. They seem to be lining up their charges, seeing if they can pick, relatively soft or squished targets. This Hippeus Lancer general and this Citizen Cav are also being moved into the woods here. I think the Tarentines have him particularly spooked, and well, they should. Those Tarentines can do a lot of damage if they choose to go after specific targets. Here, Bobi opts, instead of going after the Hippeus, he chases his Citizen Cav. And I was a little dubious about this while I was watching the battle, but I have since learned to kind of watch and form my own opinions later, as a lot of these things work out very interestingly. So the Tarentine are just here on the edge, and the Citizen Cav look like they seem to be bait to kind of pull the skirmishers out. The Hippeus are being moved out here to the left flank of Bobi in an attempt to deal with the Citizen Cav. They look like an easy target, but maybe that's the entire point of them. So he opts instead to turn his Tarentine back around, and you can see that AggonyAchilles is pulling back his Hippeus Lancer. I'm not sure particularly where he's looking, but perhaps to get out of the line of fire from a lot of these units. Bobi has pretty much surrounded AggonyAchilles, and he seems to be kind of feinting in and out, trying to get his units into the best position. His left flank and what is now his center are moving forward quite aggressively. While here on the right flank, the Hippeus are content to chase his Citizen Cav which really is just acting pretty much like bait to draw them away, I think. And not a terrible idea if you're outgunned in the cavalry department, really. So this Massilian cav is being pushed quite violently towards the center, maybe in an attempt to hold down the units. The archers out here are getting some shots on the Massilian cav, but I don't see any defending units. Oh, but they could be in the forest. Oh, yes, they are. So it looks like the mercenary Thracian warriors are being moved up to deal with this Massilian cav, and that could go well for the Thracians. But at the last second, Bobi is able to reissue attack orders, and the mercenary Thracians take almost a 20-man loss right off the charge there. So out here in the center, we have the engagement begun. The light hoplites are going to jump in here against the Massilian cav, and I believe the Celtic warriors. Again, the units are here. The hoplites getting into this engagement, but also getting charged at the same time. The Hippeus general for AggonyAchilles is searching for a target, while the citizen cavalry sneaks through the center in an attempt to charge the Massilian hoplites here, which it does successfully. Massilian hoplite doesn't take too much damage off of that. I think it was already in hoplite wall as well. The Hippeus get in here and really just nail this mercenary Thracian from behind, and that causes an insta-rout, while the archers here are just opening them up on the Hippeus. And at this point, I'd like to point out, as Achilles pointed out to me, archers, any skirmishers against Hippeus are extremely effective in that the Hippeus don't have shields, and this was something that for whatever reason was beyond me at this point, because I didn't quite understand. I assumed that targeting the horsemen wasn't necessarily the greatest target, but now in retrospect I see that it was an incredibly effective strategy. If you take away the killing power of Athens, it really doesn't have much left. And that is what Bobi is attempting to do, and that I think is the primary weakness of Athens, is really the lack of killing power. The hoplites and the Massilian hoplites going at it, I presume that the Massilians would win this hands down over a long enough time period, but that is going to be a slow battle. Here the light hoplites are getting routed by the axe warriors and the Massilian hoplites. This hoplite in a denser formation is not being wrapped around. The Massilian hoplites here, the general, are engaged, as well as the Tarentine cav. Looks like the Tarentine got a quick rush from behind. So the Hippeus Lancers and both Hippeus Lancers are going at it in a melee duel. I couldn't tell you who's going to win that. The skirmishers for Athens are still out here and effective, and I presume they have to be used to good effect in order to garner some kills here. The Hippeus Lancer general of AggonyAchilles is being moved towards the center in an attempt to, I presume, support his units, while the citizen cav is being used to chase away the Tarentine cav. And it looks like the Hippeus Lancer of Athens was able to win that battle, while the citizen cav is still roaming. These citizen cav are going to get charged, and subsequently are going to get routed. Now here the Hippeus general is being brought into battle against the Massilian hoplite general. The Hippeus were in trample, and so caused quite a bit of damage, even though the Massilians were in hoplite wall. The archers are now being targeted by the skirmisher cav, which will get into combat quite efficiently and effectively, and it has a Hippeus general being brought in there against them. Another Hippeus trample charge being brought against the Massilian general, and they are just going to start to crumble after a while from these repeated cycle charges. Didn't lose terribly a lot of men, but I presumably that's done a lot of HP damage. At this point, the Hippeus Lancers of Athens are roaming around, but don't seem to have much of a coordinated target. They seem to be trying to take out the Massilian general, but not entirely sure how that goes. The Tarentine cav is able to tie up all three of these units all at once, and that is incredibly effective use of the Tarentine cav by TWR Bobi, as the Massilian general is brought into that main fight. Out here, the thorax hoplites are doing their best in that engagement. And all across the line, we're seeing the Athenian hoplites being surrounded and basically overpowered by some combination of Celts or axe warriors, which are incredibly effective for their armor-piercing value. Levy Freeman, again, free to roam in here, and that would be very dangerous towards that central cav fight, as the Massilian general is as well. So it looks like TWR Bobi is wrapping up these flanks quite effectively, and he brings but AggonyAchilles is able to bring his Epeius general into these Celtic warriors and gets a devastating charge from behind, which may just even up that fight. But TWR Bobi has too many men out here in the center, which are now free, and it's all across the line. The Athenians are routing. They can't take this sustained damage, and that's it. Costly victory. All right, so let's take a look at the Massilians. 104 for the hoplites, 26 for the Epeius, 80, 95 for the Massilian cav, 90. Tarentine with 127 kills. Axe Warriors 143, 129. 73 for the Celts, 75. Levy Freeman 70, 168 from the Massilian hoplites. For AggonyAchilles, 126 for his Epeius Lancer General. 45 for the Citizen Cav, 146 for the other Epeius, just a handful of kills for the Archers, 90 for the Hoplites, Thracians, 55, 99, 17, so varied, 85 for the Thorax Hoplites, 96, 96, not bad for the Hoplites. I want to thank both players, both AggonyAchilles and TWR Bobi, for not only sending in the replay, but for allowing me to watch the game as it happened. I really appreciate it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So again, I just wanted to thank both players, and I wanted to tell everyone that's involved in the FIB that we are going to be moving ahead April 1st, so everybody be prepared. All right, you guys, this is Total War Seraphim signing off. Everyone, be well, be healthy.